Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is the women's game. We are live. It is just minutes, literally seconds after the final whistle of the USA versus Iceland game. The U.S. women's national team came from behind to win the game 3-1 thanks to goals from our hero, Lynn Williams, Lindsey Horan, and Emma Sears on her first cap. I'm so thrilled, everybody, to be joined here for this live reaction show by Becky Sauerbrunn and surprise guest Megan Rapinoe. Becky and Pino, thank you both so much for being here.
Pleasure. I'm already having so much fun.
My pleasure, Sam.
Oh my goodness. Us three have been chatting away over text all game. We are going to react to this game live, but first I'm going to explain the show tonight. This is a Do It Live, which means you, our listeners, are here with us. You can ask us questions about football, about life. Here's how. You're going to scan the QR code in the bottom left of your screen. It's going to take you into a Zoom with our producer, Sophie, who will get you set up to ask your question. Audio only, so don't be afraid. You're not going to be on screen. We'll get to those questions a little bit later in the broadcast, but go ahead and get in line now to make sure you get yours in there. And for those of you who don't want to ask a question, do us a huge favor and give us a like. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and join us on this channel. I see some of you in the chat already. Leah Kennedy cheering for Lynn, which I love. Chloe Billings, I read your name last time. You're complimenting Becky's hair being down. Long live leg sleeve Lynn from Andrea Summer. Okay, I'm so excited to interact with everybody. We're going to get to your questions in a bit. Becky, Pino, let's get into the game. First things first, we're celebrating two things tonight. Mal Swanson's 100th cap ceremony and Kelly O'Hara's retirement game. Let's start with Kelly. I know we didn't get to see the ceremony on TV that much, but what do you both imagine this past week has been like for Kelly, celebrating with Gotham last weekend and U.S. Soccer today?
Well, I kind of hope that she hasn't been sober this entire week. And I imagine it's like super emotional, but I also think she is very receptive to hopefully all the love and admiration and adoration that is just being thrown at her. I'm sure from teammates, fans, everybody. I mean, she's like a beloved player in person. And so I just hope she's feeling all of that.
I can at least attest for the one day that I saw her on her Gotham jersey retirement for the multiple hours that I saw her during the day. I told her a while back because she was like kind of deciding whether she, how she wanted to do it and if she wanted to have like a part. And I was like, just honestly, do it all, Kelly. You've had an incredible career. So many people love you. So many people have like been on this journey. I think it's sad for all of those people too. They're like, really? Like, you guys are just like not going to be doing this anymore? Like, what am I going to be doing? She's like, so I think it's kind of like a collective thing. And I think she knows that she's like had an incredible career. And I think she's really soaking it all in.
Okay. Real question. Do you think she got gifts that are on par or better than the gifts that Carly Lloyd got for her retirement ceremony?
Wait, hang on. I need to backtrack to this. Remind us what Carly got.
Carly got like a 3-day paid golf resort.
From who?
From U.S. Soccer. Do you remember Ryan Bell had this whole like PowerPoint presentation? Pino, you have to remember because you looked at me and you go, oh, I'm for sure announcing my retirement with U.S. Soccer in the hopes that I'm going to get gifts like this.
I feel like I have a Van Cleef coming from U.S. Soccer still.
Oh. It's in transit or?
Yeah, it's like coming like the paychecks are coming. It's
oh
just
my
like,
goodness.
It'd be like one little thing at a time.
I wonder what Kelly may have gotten, may not have gotten as a gift. I certainly didn't get her anything yet, but I'm very open to chipping in and getting her something cute.
Should we all go in on something for her?
I think we just committed to it right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of gifts, Mal Swanson also reached her 100th cap. The ceremony was today. She actually reached her 100th cap in the gold medal game, the game she scored the tournament winning goal. Ooh. And when I've been thinking about this, like part of me wants to be like, oh my God, Mal, how did she get here so quick? She's a baby. But then I'm like, in actuality, Mal has been through so much that 100 caps actually feels like now is the right time for Mal to be at this milestone. Like only the very best, most resilient players reach this point. And Mal belongs in that category. She's been on this team for a long time. She's a leader. She's a veteran now. I'm wondering if each of you, Becky, you go first. Do you have a favorite Mal Swanson moment that you can share with us?
I kind of have two moments. I think it was the moment where I realized, okay, this is like a star in the making. And that was at the 2016 Olympics when like off the bench, we were relying on Mal to create like all this offensive need. And I was like, okay, like a star is born here. And then when I realized, okay, she's actually like a world beater was, I think it was the 2023 She Believed, where I think she single-handedly won a bunch of those games and won us the tournament. And I was just like, all right, she clearly is something very special.
She was in such incredible form then. It was actually, that was right before she got hurt, right? Right before she got hurt in April of 2023. And I remember the loss everybody felt, obviously for Mal personally, but just knowing she was in such incredible form then. Pino, what about you? What can you tell us about Mal?
Well, all the moments where she tripped over her feet that are like abnormally large. Like
So
they're
large.
like, she's so short, but she's like has like a 5'10" size shoe. It's weird. So she like is so skilled, but trips on her feet all the time. And then honestly, I think the gold medal match, just like a defining career moment. She was excellent that entire tournament. I think she, obviously all of them are so dynamic. Her, Trin, Soph, epic nickname with the triple espresso. But Mal, I think, brings something different. She's more of a playmaker. She's more dynamic. She's like all over the field all the time. And for her to have that moment and on her 100th cap, I didn't even know that.
I know. It's a good fun fact, Pino, for those of us in the industry, as we'll say now. Huge congratulations to both Kelly and Mal. What two incredible things to be celebrated for. I want to get more into the game tonight against Iceland. Really different lineup from the game the other night. There were 7 changes to the starting lineup, including Olivia Moultrie in the midfield, and then first start for gold medalist Emily Sams. I wanted to tell that story really quick. Emily Sams made the Olympic roster without having a cap, and then she dressed for a game, so she got a gold medal. But her first cap was tonight. So gold medalist comes in, gets her first cap, first start tonight. A huge congratulations to her. I thought she did well. What were you guys' first impressions of the lineup tonight? Becky, maybe you can talk about the back line a little bit. Pino, maybe you can talk about the forwards.
Yeah, I obviously was super stoked for Emily Sams. I think she's had an unreal season with Orlando. She's a player very composed, very good under pressure, very good in her 1v1 duels. So I thought it was really fun to see her slot into a back line that had kind of a variety of experience level. You've got Sonnet, who just hit 100. You've got Jenna Nyswanger, who's kind of like in the late teens for appearances. And then I also really want to shout out Casey Kruger because I don't think she gets enough love. I feel like she has been playing on this team for so many years and forever. And she's close to 70, but like in my head, I was like, oh, she's got to be over 100 because to me, she's just such a mainstay on this team. And there is no getting past her. I will scream this from the rooftops, best 1v1 defender I have ever played with.
Wow. That is huge praise for Casey Kruger Reeves.
She is really tough to get. I'm not.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to stay in front and serve from here. Fine. I know it's like almost like she should have like 200 caps and she's getting in there. Obviously the line, I mean, I think just initially you're like, okay, they're on short rest. They're, Emma has said she wants to get a bunch of people in. It felt like, kind of like disjointed a little bit. A lot of new people. The team is really built around that like dynamic threat in behind and going forward. So I think that was a little bit of a struggle. But that's how it's like, you got to play. And none of these minutes are like garbage minutes. Like this is how you make a name for yourself. This is like, impress in these moments or do something special or just like get those butterflies out. So a little disjointed. I think in the midfield, I was kind of like, okay, what exactly is everyone doing? But then second half was much better, obviously.
Yeah, you mentioned disjointed. I agree, especially in the beginning, kind of a little bit on both sides of the ball, a little vulnerable in transition defensively. But I want to zoom out for a second. And I want to ask you guys how it feels watching this, which is like literally the very beginning of a new cycle. The Olympics just ended. The World Cup isn't until 2027. And we've all been through camps like this. It's right after a major tournament. And the next big thing is like years away. So you're building, kind of starting over, but you still have all these veterans in and Emma's still kind of a new coach. Like, do you guys think the future of the team is starting to take shape? Can you see that clearly? Or do we have just so much time ahead of us to figure all of that out?
I think for me, looking at this team, and from talking to some of the players, it actually feels like the cycle started after the World Cup. Whereas like with us, our cycles usually ended after the Olympics. Because I think when Twyla Kilgore took over as interim, I think she really brought kind of a new group along a lot faster than even I expected. I thought she did a really good job as interim. And so I feel like this team already has a little bit of an identity, whereas like that would just be like the foundation would just be being built now. I think they're further along than sometimes we were in our past cycles.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously their performance at the Olympics proved that. They're like into their cycle already. A lot of the core had the experience, even the younger core, even just going through, what they went through in the World Cup and having that experience, and obviously it being a really difficult experience, but still going through a cycle, knowing what that means, knowing what it's like to be in a tournament. So I think they're kind of already into it, while at the same time, I think there are some things that are very much like left unfigured out.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Emma Hayes have such an impact so quickly. And I feel like with more time to experiment. I mean, Becky and you and I touched on this a little bit in the last live reaction show. Like this is such an opportunity to experiment a little bit. And we did some experimenting after the 2016 Olympics, and some of it worked and some of it didn't. But I think a lot of that led to our success in 2019. And so kind of to imagine Emma having more time with this team, time to kind of pull in some players like we saw Emma Sears tonight come in and do such a great job and shape the team to be what she wants, I think makes me feel really optimistic that we'll just continue to grow and push. And obviously the rest of the world is doing the same thing, but I feel like we have a really special chemistry going right now. I want to get into this game specifically. Talk about Iceland a little bit. I felt on the game the other night, like Iceland was a hard team to play against. Iceland's been getting invested in. They're ranked 13th in the world, which is good. They've already qualified for the Euros early next year. And something that we all were texting about during this game was those late shoves in the back when Iceland was pressuring us. I want you guys to talk about how annoying that is as a player. Like, does it throw you off your game?
I mean, I think it's super annoying. It's definitely a mind game. It's kind of like, for me as a defender, if I have a forward that's constantly kind of pushing me after I pass it, it's a little bit like, ooh, they were closer than I thought that they were. So like, am I going to be able to get the next pass off? So I'm like all in my head a little bit. And then also it like kind of hurts. Like if you're just getting kind of poked in the ankle repeatedly, like ankle biters, like it is super annoying.
It hurts. It's like when you're getting a daughter's shoulder in the back every time. And you're just like, it's just like, I think especially like as an offensive player, like my back is to you. My back is to goal. I'm just trying to pass it backwards. And it's just like, it's coming. Like it is a little bit of a mind game. Honestly, they've always been a very physical team. They've always been a really tough team to beat. I wouldn't say they're always like the best team, but they have a level of physicality, both like in their speed and then their speed of play. And obviously in their like, just like aggression that is just difficult and it's hard to play with. You're never going to get anything easy. And it's just like, it hurts. Sometimes you catch it bad too. You kink a neck and you're like, I kink all game.
Like, I cannot be kinking my neck. It's very delicate these days, but it can throw you off your game. Like you're saying, Pino, I'm just passing it back. Like, why are you irritating me like this? And mentally, it can throw you off. It hurts. It's like annoying. So props to Iceland. Look, I mean, we're going to get to their goal in just a second. They scored early. They did a good job. I thought they looked like a really difficult team to play against. I've been thinking a lot about, especially since the Olympics, we're a team that gets end line a lot. We have such talent and speed out wide. We're always beating defenders and crossing. Do you guys think we're scoring enough from these crosses, from these opportunities we're creating out wide? And if not, I'm assuming the answer is no. What's missing?
I mean, I'm going to leave that to one of the best crossers of the ball in the game that we've ever seen. So go ahead, Pino, you answer that.
Well, and I want to hear your perspective too, Becky, because you're one of the best cross stoppers, which is really annoying in the world. I mean, I think they're waiting too long. I've thought this for a long time. I'm like, you have the half yard, like the ball a lot of time, sort of initiates the movement from the forward. And so you're only really like looking for space. I feel like that's the thing. If there's 3, 4, 5 yards of space behind the back line, just put the ball there. It's so difficult for defenders to try to backpedal and like keep a line while the forward is just sprinting. So I have found from, Trin, Mal, Soph, and other players that like they're beating the player and then taking another touch. And then I do think the forwards need to have better runs and need to like initiate it more, especially that front post run. There was one, I think, late in the first half or maybe in the second half, where I'm just like bang into the near post. It's at least going to
barge in there.
Barge in there.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of like an initiation from the player crossing the ball, like just put the ball across the front. Now you do that 2 or 3 times. Now they're dropping earlier. Now the cutback's on now, but it's like, there's too many times where the crosses are either getting flat out blocked by the fullback or just like cut out or taking too long and cut out by the center backs or the goalkeeper is getting it. Becky, I don't know what you think, but that's what I've thought for a little while now.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I think as defenders, we're taught as quickly as possible, get set into position and then grab your markers. So the faster a cross comes in, the harder it is for us to pick up our person. And Pino, like you said, if you get that half yard of space and you're whipping it behind the back line, defenders facing our goal and trying to clear a ball, it's one of the most difficult, one of the most scary things that we have to do as defenders. And so, Pino, when you would cross the ball, you would put whip on it and pace. And so if the ball hit off my foot in any odd way, the chance of it being an own goal just like skyrockets. And so I agree. I think getting the cross off faster, I think if we can target players a little bit more as well and not just kind of sending in prayer balls, I feel sometimes we're like, we beat the player, I'm just going to throw this into the mix. I think we're getting to a point where that needs to evolve and we need to start really picking out some players.
I think also they need to be hitting on the ground more. Like get the ball skipping off the ground. It's so difficult. Like balls in the air, I feel like you can just judge a little bit better. But when it's like whipped across the front, it gets the little skip. All of a sudden, like it's past you as a defender. Like it's such a difficult ball. And you can do it basically from anywhere like 18 down. Like you get a little bit of space that other winger should be crashing every time. And then things can open up from there.
Pino, you also told me that you were going to be looking for like midfield playmaking ability tonight. And I'm curious, especially in the first half, the starting midfield was Sam Coffey, Corbin Albert, and Olivia Moultrie. What did you notice? I mean, what are you really looking for from the midfield?
I'm looking for like operators in the game. Like they're not going to be the players that are scoring all the goals. We have the triple espresso up front. Like your job is to get the ball and pass it forward. And then if that isn't working and like they need to pass it back to you and then you can score, then you can score. But like for me, it's like setting pace. I think it's like driving a tempo. It's basically the work from box to box. And like your job is to get it from the defenders and put, you know, the 10 and honestly the front 3 in a position to like really be dynamic and to like get them the ball in dangerous positions. I find a little bit, I mean, in this game, I think, again, it's like a different lineup. These players haven't played together.
Yeah.
But I think Lindsay does this well and has always done this well. But I think that like final pass, I think especially with the dynamic nature of the front 3, someone who can really like play either the sort of key pass or like the hockey assist pass or the actual assist to like break someone through at the right timing, the right pace on the ball, like all of that. I think we still like really need that. I think Rose does that and her dribbling ability is obviously there and just so dynamic and so unique. But that person that just gets the ball and like gets it out of their feet really quickly, I think we need to develop that more.
Yeah, I see some mentions of Ashley Sanchez in the comments too. I think Sanchez has had such a great NWSL season this year. She got traded to the Courage. I think it was such a great fit for her. I'm really hopeful that we'll see her in this third game that's coming up because I love her as a midfield playmaker, Pino. Becky, do you have any thoughts on our midfield currently or what it is you're looking for more of?
Yeah, I'm looking for more, kind of what Pino's saying, but these final passes, putting the attackers actually in on goal, as opposed to just being okay with it being hit wide and then that attacking player having to do like an amazing 1v1 to open up their own quality chance. I really want to see like platter balls, like put Mal in where it's a one-touch finish. Like don't have to rely on Mal beating 3 players and then creating a chance on her own. And so just that like precision and really reading off one another and what each other needs as profile with their profile as players and just like setting each other up a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. Becky, we're good. So our next thing to talk about is Iceland's goal. But Becky, I want to know if you can summarize the first 30 minutes. It's goalless. What did you see at the beginning?
Yeah, we talked about it. It was disjointed, and I think Iceland was really looking to create a stretch between our midfield and our defensive line, and they were setting players up in a way that it actually like split our midfield. So kind of a long straight ball was open to their attacking player, Jonsdottir, and even in the 30th minute, it's a half field 1v1, Jonsdottir and Emily Sams, and I'm just thinking to myself like this should not be happening this high up on the field. And I actually think it led to the corner kick that leads to Iceland's first goal.
Yeah, exactly. Pino, you're nodding in agreement. What was your take on this kind of vulnerability at the back?
I thought it was, I totally agree. And I didn't even catch that, Becky. So that's normal for you to catch a lot more than I am about the splitting. But I was thinking more like the center backs are having to drive further in the midfield because they don't have a pass. So either the midfielders aren't getting on it. There wasn't a lot of threat in behind, which kind of condenses things. I feel like, again, a little bit disjointed, but I was finding that it's like, okay, you're having to like plot into the midfield, which is like after a few touches, it just becomes dangerous. Like you're running forward, they're running at you. And then it was leaving us like really exposed. I said to Sam earlier before we all got in the group chat, I was like, is it just me or like, is it just 1v1 back there? Like, I don't know. They're not really punishing. So like, I don't know if it matters, but like, it feels dangerous. I don't know.
I think
dangerous.
Pino said Sue was very concerned about it, which I was like, okay, this is something we have to look at. If Sue is worried, like we're going to have to fix this. And Becky, you mentioned this one-on-one moment where Emily Sams was defending Jonsdottir. And that is the moment that turned into a corner kick, which led to Iceland's goal. So around 30, 31 minutes, it was actually a pretty sick Olympico corner kick, pretty much from Willemsdottir. Excuse the pronunciation. Casey Murphy, our goalkeeper, really just mistimed it. She got kind of one hand deflection on it. It went in off the back post. And it brings us to a painful question. I think we need to rip the Band-Aid off and ask Alyssa Nair, who has been our rock brick wall, our hero for the however many past years. Alyssa will be 39 years old at the 2027 World Cup. Casey Murphy has 20 caps as of tonight. And this was definitely a mistake. I'm wondering, what did you guys see on the goal? And then it's a tough question. What are your overall thoughts on the future of the goalkeeper position?
I mean, the only other person that I've ever really seen score an Olympico is Pino.
I know.
I'm like, Zola was like, do you think she meant to do that? And I was like, I don't know many players that mean to do it except for Pino. Yeah. So Pino, please.
I don't know.
How do you do it?
I mean, I don't know that player very well, or at all. So I don't know if she meant to do it or if this is something that's regular for her. Probably not. Just by the way she hit it. I mean, honestly, I think Casey, she obviously got caught out major because the ball went not even back. If that thing swings back post, like, what are you going to do? I mean, sometimes it's just like, that's crazy. But this was like dead in the middle of the goal. So I feel like it was one of those things where it's just kind of like second nature where the goalkeeper's like sees the ball coming and you just kind of immediately go like that. But then, she wasn't really like reading the flight. I actually thought Sam's would have headed it off the line.
I know. She didn't get a deflection on it.
I think we need to start developing younger keepers for sure. I mean, I think the ones that have been in the program backing Alyssa up for a long time, like clearly aren't breaking through in either the NWSL really or the national team. And like, I think we know with goalkeepers, like your development, like get them in really young and start like teaching them the game exactly the way it needs to be played. I think in a versus a high press, I worry about her feet. I don't think she plays quick enough. So, I mean, she does a good job, but we need to also put Lissy in the cryo chamber and like just, freeze her down until 27 and then freeze her down until 31, It's just keep freezing her down.
I mean, in Alyssa, we trust. I will go out on a limb here and say that when Hope Solo was done playing, people said this, not we knew Alyssa was incredible, but people said a similar kind of narrative where they were like, the backup goalkeepers aren't ready for this jump. And Alyssa came up. I remember specifically Alyssa made a couple of errors and the media doubted her. And like, we all know how incredible Alyssa is, but those moments built her. And those moments have proven to be, I think, this like foundation for Alyssa's career. And I'm super hopeful about Casey Murphy. I mean, she has a great frame. I've played with her a little bit. But I see your point, Pino, that like now is the time to start calling in younger keepers. Jane Campbell went home from this camp with an injury, and Mandy Hawk got called in from Utah. Becky, do you have any thoughts about the goalkeeper position?
Well, I just think like, yes, it was a goalkeeping error. And like we've talked about, Alyssa has made a lot of errors. We've all made a lot of errors. It's just when you're closer to the goal, it gets magnified every time you make one.
Yeah.
And I think what's really important was how Alyssa recovered. And I think how Casey recovered the rest of the game. Like, I didn't see her, shoulders in, doubting herself. Like, she was still playing out of the back. She still came out for crosses later on in the game. And so I think sometimes like bad stuff happens. And I'm really hoping that she doesn't get, punished for a mistake that everyone has probably made in their career.
Yeah, I don't think it's like this mistake. I don't think it's like, it obviously was a mistake, but it's also, she's good on crosses and like comes out for him, and she's so tall and like has that frame. I just want, I just wonder, like, it's like how long? I mean, it's also, how long do you keep investing in someone, or is like, is there someone young that? I think the thing with Alyssa that we all saw, first of all, she's a psychopath, and so she would just stay after training and take shots from us for like 50 hours at a time. But that mentality to just, she wasn't nearly as good as she was, and not to say that Casey isn't doing this, but like with Alyssa, you could just tell she had that drive to be great. And she wasn't always this good. She wasn't always, I mean, she was always making the crazy acrobatic saves, and we're like, Alyssa, enough. Like, aren't you tired? But she always had that kind of crazy drive to her.
Yeah, I do want to, Becky, you said that the closer you are to goal, the more mistake gets magnified. And so I'm going to call myself out really quick. One time in training, it was like very early on in my career. Oh my God. And we were in training. I was defending a corner kick, and I freaking headed it in my own goal. And I looked around for a minute and I said, was that me? and I remember Ashlyn was in goal, and she was just like, yes. So she was probably like, Sam, like, come on, like, head it anywhere else except in the goal. And so, I mean, it happens. Sometimes it just happens out there.
Do you guys remember in my playoff game when I was having to mark someone back post and lost track of everything? And then once I got back to it, the ball hit me in the face and went in the goal in a playoff game.
Okay, I can beat both of you guys.
Both.
How about against Spain in the first knockout round of 2019, Alyssa plays me the ball. I get stripped. We both get chipped, and the game gets tied up. So you guys, your little practice problem and your playoff problem, World Cup problem.
Well, at least we freaking won.
But we did.
Reed, let's just delete that from this portion of the video. So this is our first time trailing in a game under Emma Hayes. Lots of credit to Iceland, a good first half performance. We're going to go into halftime down 1-0. Becky, what did you see? What did you see from our forwards? Like, what were we missing in our attack?
It was the first time that I'd seen us employ a false 9 since Kat Macario. And so Jaden Shaw, who's not typically a 9, was playing a false 9, which means she was coming back more into the midfield to receive the ball at feet as opposed to kind of running in behind. And I think when you do that, the people around Jaden need to read off that and make the run in behind, stretch the line, make that back line, make decisions about stepping, dropping, so you can create space to capitalize on. And I didn't think that was happening. It was all played within like 44 yards. And so it was kind of stagnant. We weren't getting people quite in the right pockets. We weren't getting people stretching at the right time. So there are a couple offsides. And so, just a little bit of, I think, problems with movement off the ball.
Pino, did you see that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, and again, because this is a new lineup and all things, I have a lot of grace for this, but like the sort of lack of positional discipline and like everyone just being like, oh, I can just go anywhere. I mean, you guys know, you've been on enough teams with me. I hate that so much. There's like Messi, maybe, and like Marta and like Kat was a kind of player that's like, okay, do whatever. and everybody else has to understand that's the only person that's doing whatever. Now, I don't think anyone was trying to do that, but I think when you don't know where other people are going to be, whether it's like a midfielder getting the ball and turning, like you shouldn't have to turn and figure out where everyone is. You should be able to look to 3 spots and know where they are. And so I feel like it was a little bit like who's running in behind. Like at one point, Sam Coffey ran all the way in behind. She was making a run in behind from the midfield. I mean, good on you, Sam. I don't know if that's going to be our winning recipe. Is Jenna Nightswanger hitting a dink ball to Sam Coffey over the top? But I think just a lack of like understanding of like, okay, this is where we're going to get the ball, and then like almost like a directness. I mean, I love this about Mal. She did a few times in the first half. Like, I'm going to get the ball. I'm faster than you, and I'm more skilled than you. So I'm either going to like run past you. I'm just going to run right at you. Like put that defender in a tough spot and see kind of what's going on. But it felt a little bit like everyone was like, okay, are you going? Am I going? Is this where I should be? Is this where you should be? So
which I think is so natural with a ton of new players. It's not like, and I said this on this last live reaction show. The last time we saw this team play was in the Olympic final. They were like firing on all cylinders. They were like, everybody was on the same page, in perfect form, ready to win a gold medal. We have new players here. They haven't been together in a while. I think there was a disjointedness, Pino. You're right. I think a couple times like a hesitation. Are you going? Should I play this in? Are you making this run? And like not knowing, which is not cause for panic. Had we lost the game 1-0, would everybody be panicking? I don't know, maybe, but
fire Emma. Fire her, get her out.
But we figured it out. We made some subs at halftime. Alyssa Thompson came in up top. Lindsay Horan came into the midfield, which again had looked disjointed. And again, we mentioned this earlier, vulnerable defensively. I think that Sam Coffey and Corbin Albert were getting beat, kind of split or played around. I thought a couple of times they looked maybe too close together, so that one pass was taking them both out of it. Emily Fox also came in at outside back. So Jenna Nightswanger, Olivia Moultrie, Sam Coffey came off. Then just a few minutes later in the 55th minute, Emma Sears came on for her first cap. Emma Sears is a forward for Racing Louisville in the NWSL, and Lynn Williams joined her. The pair took off Yasmin Ryan and Jaden Shaw. Lots of subs, but early in the second half, I mean, maybe some more chances early on, but we didn't have a ton to show for it yet.
Yeah, but then we always have set pieces, which I think is kind of like the thing that we can always rely on as the U.S. women's national team. Like we are very good at set pieces. And Lindsay had a pretty great free kick in the 62nd minute. I thought the goalkeeper had to make a really nice save.
Yeah, she did. She had that great free kick. And then I think the rebound ended up, then Lindsay charged right back in. And I think the rebound ended up in another kind of service, and Lindsay almost got to that one too. This was like an interesting exercise, I think. It's a must-score situation. So Sophia Smith subs on in the 66th minute for Casey Kruger. So that's a forward for a defender. And it's clear, like, we're going for it. We're changing it up. We changed to a 3-back. I was messaging Becky, is this a 3-3-4? So it's Sonnet, Emily Sams, Emily Fox. Emily Sonnet, Emily Sams, Emily Fox, triple Emily.
Oh,
am I right?
I didn't even realize that.
I didn't either. That's crazy. We need a new nickname for the triple Emily's. Let us know in the comments, everybody. This was the trusty 99. Can somebody talk us through that?
You want to take it, P?
99, you guys. This is such a throwback. I haven't seen a 99 in a very long time.
If you don't hear Tony Gustafson's voice in your head, our assistant coach in 2019 saying double nines, I don't know.
Holding up the big signs that were like
99.
Got it. You've made a sub and it's clear what's happening, and someone came off and someone else.
We have 4 forwards on the field. We
totally understand what's happening. Yeah, I felt like it took a little while, but I think like the familiarity got there. You have a lot of people who had played together. You had more stretching of the back line and more like dynamic runs, whether from Alyssa, obviously put a playmaker in there like Lindsay. I thought the chances like started to kind of open up. Lindsay had a great free kick. I still want to get in there and just still steal free kicks from Lindsay. She waited so long, and I still want them all back from her. Bless her. Yeah, but I think it was a little, at least in the front part, was a little more consistent, and you kind of had some flow. But then, man, it was open back there.
Yeah, it was.
Becky, sometimes stepping damn near to the D circle or whatever it's called.
Sonnet was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Sonnet was really having to like come into the midfield to try to like stop play.
There's only one Emily back there.
There's only one Emily left. Becky,
and where were the midfield? I don't know where the midfield.
I think they were up top.
They were
I think
like
it was
in between and then back.
Everybody was playing forward.
It wasn't a double 9. It was a triple 9 for sure.
Yeah.
Like we were pushing a lot of people forward. And like, I totally understand as a defender, it creates just a lot of havoc when you have that many people that you're trying to defend. Any lucky bounce that like hits off your thigh or you don't clear it properly, there's always somebody on the other team that's picking it up. So it's completely understandable that they went for it. And I'm glad that they did because clearly it worked out for them.
Yeah, I'm happy they went for it. I'm happy it was just like, let's do this. These games, obviously, friendlies don't matter that much, but they kind of do. You kind of can like gain confidence and create like a little vibe from these games.
Yeah, I mean, basically we keep referring to this as a double 9. It was a formation change where we put a bunch of forwards up top and we basically just outnumbered them in dangerous areas, and it freaking worked. Literally on this play, due to sheer numbers, we got the ball forward down the left-hand side of the field. It comes across the goal. MF Sears was able to keep it in the frame of the goal, kind of just like touch it back across right to Lynn Williams, who finished right from 6 yards out. And again, this is why you put all of these attackers on the field. This is why you play a really aggressive formation when you're down a goal. Like, there's just numbers everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Emma Sears' touch saved Soph from having a shot that went out for a corner. Or when it went out for a throw.
Which we've all done.
Speak for yourself.
Maybe Becky. Maybe Becky.
I haven't done that one.
I've done it a few.
Absolutely have done that.
And then what's great is like the tried and true. We always rely on the set pieces. I don't think we always want to rely on set pieces, but we always know that we have that in the back. I mean, guys, we pretty much won 2019 from Pinot and set pieces. Let's be completely honest. Yeah. So I thought great ball from Mal Swanson. Really good run from Lynn Williams to get first to the ball, played across face of the goal. And then Lindsay Horan, that far post, just closing it in, tapping goal. Gotta love tapping goals.
She's going to be in the goal.
She is always going to be in there. She's always going to be in there. So goal and assist for Lynn Williams, leg sleeve, live, laugh, love. Our trusty co-host, Lynn Williams. And then, guys, just before the final whistle, Emma Sears scored a great goal in her first cap. The ball came to her across the box. She calmly put it away, far post. Pinot, talk us through what you saw on that, and what do you think it felt like for Emma Sears to score on her debut?
Oh my God. I mean, her head's probably like rolling around inside of her head. She's just like, this is amazing. Like, never having played in the youth programs, this is like her first call up, full stop. So exciting. So cool. Goal and assist. I mean, we can question whether she meant the assist. I don't know. Did Lynn mean that touch? I don't know either. I mean, that was just like bop, bop, bop. Incredible. Like, to be able to start your career with a goal and an assist, to be able to have your debut. I thought she was really positive, to be honest. Yeah. I like the way that she took people on. I like how she was direct. Like, we'll see how she fits in, when everybody's fit and healthy, and see how she like continues to progress. But I liked how she was positive with the ball and wanted to attack and was like always kind of in the mix.
Yeah, I liked her too. I have noticed her for Racing Louisville too. I think she's dangerous. I think she's like physically a great fit for this team. I think she can take people on 1v1. She's a good frame. She's fast. She has a good shot. Like, I always notice she's getting really good pressure on the back line for Louisville, like making the opposition make mistakes and play under pressure. We're about to get to our callers in just 1 minute. I just wanted to see if either of you have any other takeaways from this game we haven't talked about yet.
I think that teams can hang with us for a certain amount of time, but if you're okay defending for long periods of that time, like, there's going to be this change. It's going to be in the 65th, the 75th, the 85th, where we're just going to start taking over and creating more chances. And if you give us more chances, we're going to put something away. And so I don't often love that we wait until that moment happens for us to like then take over the game. But I feel like it's really tough to defend against this group for long periods of time.
Yeah. I like our set piece dominance. And I like that is a really big card in our pocket, especially in the modern game. Obviously, if you can score goals in the run of play, great. But this is something low key. It's a huge advantage. Like, and then we attack a lot. We get a lot of chances. We're always going to be in the mix like that. We have a lot of the ball. We get a lot of fouls. I love that for us. I want to see our midfield develop a lot more to give our front three the opportunity to shine the way that I think they really can.
Yeah, I like that. I think what I want to say about Jeanette is the subs made a huge impact coming in down a goal to change the game the way that they did. Lynn Williams, Emma Sears, like Lindsay Horan coming in and like changing a game where you may feel like it's a little bit out of your control. We really weren't doing great. We didn't have that many chances. And then to kind of have powerhouse subs come in and like really change things, score 3 goals, the momentum totally turned on its head. Good coaching, great subs, like great decision to put those people in, but getting a lot of new people experience, I think was really valuable. And then kind of having the powerhouses come in and just say, all right, we'll put this one away, I think was a big statement. Okay. We've reached the part of the show where we get to hear from you, our listeners, the very best part of the show. So to join us here live on YouTube, scan the QR code in the top left of your screen or click the pinned comment in the chat that's going to take you into a Zoom with our producer, Sophie, who can tell you everything you need to know. You're not going to appear on screen. Unfortunately, there's no quad screen available tonight, everybody. It's just going to be your voice. And if you don't want to ask a question, you can write to us in the comments or you can just give us a like. It helps more than you know. Okay, I'm at the questions. So when I say your name, take yourself off mute, tell us where you're from, and then ask your question. Up first, we have Paris. Paris, take yourself off mute and tell us where you're from.
Hi guys, I'm Paris. I'm from Los Angeles, California. My question, Sam, I know you're a big Swiftie, as am I.
Big time.
So my question, and you can all answer, but again, I feel like Sam has solidified herself as the women's soccer Swiftie. So my question is, what's your favorite Taylor Swift album? And what era do you think the U.S. Women's National Team is in right now?
Oh my gosh, I love this question, Paris. Okay, so you're in LA.
Yes.
Taylor Swift. Pino, Becky, are you guys Swifties?
I would say, yeah, I'm a big supporter of Taylor Swift. I went to a concert like maybe like over a decade ago and couldn't hear anything because they were just screaming so loud. So I didn't actually hear the music, but.
Wow. But did either of you see the Eras tour?
Mm-mm.
I didn't, and I really wanted to. Is it still going? It's over.
I think it's kind
still
of
going.
over. Oh, is there just a few more shows in Canada?
Indiana and Canada.
Indiana. Pino, you could make it.
I can make it. I do want to go. You know, honestly, playing sports has ruined me because, like, unless I'm down the tunnel, in the team bus, onto the field, it's hard to go and sit, you know?
It is. I literally I was so far back, you guys. My sister-in-law got tickets like the old-fashioned way. Like she waited in line on Ticketmaster and she like got 5 tickets. And so I got to go at Gillette Stadium like last May. Fun. It was incredible, Paris. It was so awesome. I know I haven't answered your question yet. Chloe Billings is apparently also my favorite commenter. She said, women's soccer Swiftie is Sam, but Viv Miedema is the WSL Swiftie for sure. And I'm like, Chloe Billings, I think we're meant to be friends. We're on the same page. Okay. The U.S. Women's National Team is definitely in their fearless era. That's what I think.
Love it.
Wow.
And what's your favorite album?
My favorite album, I think, is Lover.
Love it.
But I actually really like Tortured Poets Department Society, so whatever it is. I like still jam to that album like pretty regularly in the car, even though it's pretty old. Do you, Becky, Pino, Paris, do you guys all have a favorite album?
I can't really name it, but I'm a big fan and a big supporter. And I love that she has like been basically like solely responsible for making Travis a big star. I'm just like, I know he's good at football, but I'm also just like, really, we're going to pretend like being Taylor Swift's boyfriend isn't like the best thing ever.
It is literally the best thing ever, I think.
Yeah.
I freaking love that. Becky, anything else to add, or am I putting you on the spot too much?
I mean, I don't know the albums super well, but like one of the OG, like the Love Story, what album is that one on?
Isn't that from Taylor Swift's self-named album, Taylor Swift?
That's Fearless.
Oh,
Fearless.
Well, there you go. Fearless.
We're big fans here.
I don't even know if there is a self-named album.
There is.
Oh, there is. I'm good. Paris, tell us your favorite album, and then we unfortunately have to move on. I could talk about this all night.
I love this. My favorite album is Midnights, and there's also a song called Paris, so I'm pretty biased.
Gosh. Paris, call in anytime. It was such a joy to hear from you. Thank you so much for calling in. Taylor Swift heart. Okay, we have another caller. Caitlin, take yourself off mute and tell us where you're from.
Hi, everyone. My name's Caitlin. I'm from DC. First off, love the Taylor Swift question. Also love her. So my question is going back to the game. We saw a little bit at the end, and you guys touched on this a little bit with the US going into a 3-back. And I thought that did some good things offensively, and it created some open pockets and some spaces, freed up some players, but defensively it was maybe a little chaotic. So I'm wondering, do you see that potentially for the team in the future? Could we do a 3-back with 2 wing backs? Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Great question, Caitlin from DC. Becky, go.
I could definitely see the team doing a 3-back with wing backs that are very disciplined and know when they can go and when they need to stay. And I think when we tried the 3-back way back in 2017, we didn't quite have that tactical awareness of when we should go and when we should stay. So in the back, we were sometimes very isolated against very good teams, and we gave up a lot of goals. I think we've advanced quite a bit as far as our like field intelligence. And so I think that, yes, I think this group can do a 3. I would almost maybe want to call it a 5-back instead of a 3-back, but yeah, a 3-back with some disciplined wing backs. And yeah, I think you're right. When we do a 3-back, you get people in advanced positions, more numbers forward, more people in the right pockets. And so I do think it's an interesting formation for us to try.
Cool. Do you have it in mind with like, who would be like a good disciplined wing back?
Oh,
I think Foxy. I mean, I know tonight she was as one of the center backs, but I see Foxy as also, I mean, I feel the way the national team is playing is so much up the left-hand side with, in the Olympics, again, Crystal Dunn, more recently, Jenna Neiswanger. But I'm like, Foxy should be getting forward like that too. I almost think sometimes we should then let the right side change that kind of shape and get forward that way as well. I think Foxy would be a great wing back, and she's really disciplined, and she could always hang back and create the 4 when needed.
Yeah, I really agree with that, Sammy. That's a great call. I think Foxy would be really good at it.
Yeah. My only concern, Caitlin, and Pino, I'd love your thoughts on this, is if we play a 3-back with 2 wing backs, then what do we do with the forwards?
Well,
anybody?
Anybody? Okay, so let's start doing
anybody.
Numbers. We have 3, and then they need to be, the wing backs need to, simultaneously be very disciplined, and like your main job is to defend, but also you have to have a knack going forward. Like you have to be good going forward. You have to be able to serve balls. You have to be able to basically slot in as like a second 6. Like if it's going up one side, like you have to be able to tuck in and slot in. I think if we're going to play a 3-back, we have to have for sure 1, but likely 2, like very disciplined, ball winning, like really good midfielders who can also be really good at distributing. Like I think that is in a lot of ways what makes a really great 3-back go, because then the center backs can, spray out wide, or they can like open up a little bit, but like you have to have the protection in front. And so moving forward, it's like the forwards, I don't know, you just play them up there, and like the wing back can come into a pocket of space, but they have to be able to operate. And then you obviously have a 10, that can operate underneath, or you have sort of like a false 9. But I think the 6th position, I probably would play a double 6, or have, at least if you're going to do like an 8-ish type player, they have to be like really smart and tactically savvy to be able to understand when to go, when not, and they have to be able to cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, so it sounds like the possible 3-back is part of a much larger puzzle piece of players and personnel that we would need to sort out and slot into the right positions. Caitlin, this was a really great question. Thank you so much for calling in. Caitlin from DC, call in anytime. We loved hearing from you. All right, we're going to take 1, maybe 2 more questions. I want to hear from Kayla. Kayla, take yourself off mute and tell us where you're from.
Hi, my name's Kayla. I'm from Portland, Oregon. Go Thorns.
Woo!
And I just have to say, Becky, it's been so amazing getting to watch you in person in Portland. I still remember the day they announced on social media that you were coming, and I lost my mind. And your tackle against Barbara Banded the other week, I was like screaming at my TV because I did not go to the game, and I totally regret that. But my question is, as somebody who gets to experience the chaos that is Providence Park, I'm wondering what stadiums you guys have played in that have just had like a really crazy atmosphere, just been super fun, and that were really memorable for you.
Oh,
I love that question.
I have to go with Old Trafford at the 2012 London Olympics, playing in the semifinal against Canada. And just like for me, and I'm sure for the rest of us, you grow up and you watch these greats like play on this field, like some of the best to ever do it. Like we got to share that pitch. So for me, it was like a sentimental thing, but also that game in itself was like so wild and so crazy to be a part of. So I just remember that atmosphere in particular.
Oh,
That's a good one, Reeves. Pino, you go.
My favorites, honestly, Parc des Princes, quarterfinal World Cup versus France. We're in France.
Versus France.
Versus
Oh,
France.
Friday night.
It's night game. The anxiety in the stadium is palpable. They know that we know that we're going to win, but they're still trying to hope and cheer and like go for their team, but they know it's not going to happen. And they also like kind of love us too. There's like this thing going on. We had the whole vibe in 19. So that was like one of the most electric. And then honestly, Providence Park is just like
so I was going to say
incredible place to play, especially being in the Seattle Portland Derby. It's like the best game. And to have that in club, it's like our league is so new and we really haven't had those like long standing rivalries, but that one from the jump was just like the best. And sometimes we like got our ass kicked and sometimes we kicked some ass and like, it didn't really matter. Every game was just like that. And especially when we played at Providence Park, it was just like the best.
go ahead, Kayla, you go.
All right. I went to your last game, Pino, and it was like so cool getting to watch you multiple times play there and like mess around with the crowd and stuff.
The best. I love it so much.
Kayla, I love that you said you're in Portland, right?
Yes.
Oh, I love that. I love that you're Becky's fan. I was actually going to shout out Providence Park as well. It hurts me to my core, but it is an awesome atmosphere to play in. I remember 2016 with the Western New York Flash, we played you there. And I remember like was it there? No, that was in Houston. I played at Providence Park so many times and was so nervous to be there because Portland was so good. And I always felt like an underdog there. The fans are incredible. The stadium is incredible. I love that it's downtown. It's a really cool place to play. What a great question, Kayla. Thank you so much for calling in. And good luck to the Thorns next weekend as they make sure that they qualify for playoffs.
Yes.
I can't believe I just said that.
I'm like shocked. I'm not even sure what to respond with.
I know. I feel like I need to go.
Are you sweating?
Wash my mouth out with soap. Okay, we're going to take one more really quick one. Thank you everybody so much who called in, but I promise Pino this is going to be less than an hour and I'm going to stick to my word. So Susanna, last question, take yourself off mute and tell us where you're from.
Hi, Sam. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can, Susanna. Hi.
Oh my gosh. I called in a few weeks ago for the Sammy Banana Phone for the WSL episode. So I'm just shocked that I'm here again with you. But my question is...
Hi. Thank you so much for calling in for that.
It was so much fun. Highlight of my life. But my question is what is your favorite U.S. Women's National Team goal for yourself and each other?
Oh my God. Becky.
Okay.
Tell your story, Becky. Tell your story.
Clearly, I don't have a goal to my name. I've got a very fun little record of having the most caps with no goals, but that's fine. Like we've talked about before, that a goal would have been icing. My favorite goal, I think, Sammy, that you scored was against Germany. And
oh my God.
I think it was the game winner in
She Believes tournament winner.
Yep. And
trickled in.
Yeah, you didn't hit it very well, but you had the right placement and you won us the game and you won us the tournament.
Sammy Wormburner is what they've been calling me. Freaking it went in, everybody. And it won the tournament. And it was 2016 She Believes. You're welcome.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's why it's still one of my favorites. Pino, wow, so many to choose from. Probably you scoring the PK against Spain in 2019 to give us the lead so that I wasn't the reason that we got kicked out of the tournament.
Oh,
That was so stressful.
Yeah,
so many memories being brought up tonight.
The whole tournament was so stressful.
My favorite Pino goal is the PK in the final because I just was like, are we about to win the World Cup final? Like, what? Like, thank you so much for everything you've done for me personally. My favorite personal goal was my first World Cup goal against Thailand, probably the fourth goal of the game, of a very high scoring game. Pino passed it to me. Pino passed me the ball, opened up, shot with my left foot. Also took a little bit of a deflection, but it was still kind of a banger and it went in. And I was so happy, you guys. It still is one of the best moments of my whole life. I loved it so much.
I feel like I'm blanking on a lot of your goals, Sam, but that's the one I was going to say because that's just like, I know how excited you were to be in the World Cup, to be on the team, to be starting, to be playing. You were always just like, this isn't even real. If someone were to come up to you on the eve of the World Cup and be like, this was a whole prank, you would have been like, I thought so.
You guys remember? Sorry, Pino, I need to hear your favorite goal of yourself in a second, but do you guys remember when they showed us the video of our families the day before the World Cup? And I was choke sobbing, crying so hard at a video of like Pat just being like, go USA. And I was like this. Because I was so proud of myself.
I think it was too much, guys. I think it was too emotional.
I was so proud of myself, you guys. I was so happy to be there. And that was so
You should have been. You fought very hard to be there. You did.
That's a story for another time. Pino, what is your personal favorite goal of yourself?
Oh my gosh. I mean, 2019 was just like so epic. Being able to score in the final of a World Cup is like so crazy. Also my Olympico in the Olympics, even though that Olympics was terrible by all accounts. But I remember saying to Harbs the day before, she was like, oh, this is where you're supposed to put the PK or the set piece or whatever. I was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, or I'm just going to shoot. And then the goalkeeper's doing something weird. So I shot it and it actually worked. Honestly, a lot of times, more times than I want to admit, I would take some shots.
We know.
we know. It wasn't.
I was like, I'm trying to get it near post.
Because we were all following the rules, Pino, and you were supposed to serve it somewhere else. And then we would all make our runs and you would just shoot it. And we'd be like, okay, she's just shooting.
Well,
wouldn't change a thing though. Wouldn't it? It did work out when it mattered. Susanna, that was these were great questions. I cannot ask for better callers. Thank you all so much for calling in. It means so much. Susanna, great to hear from you again. Please keep calling into Sammy Banana Phone. We need you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you, Susanna. Pino, do you know what Sammy Banana Phone is?
No, but I'm loving it. Is it an actual banana phone?
Well, I have a banana phone. I do have a banana phone. Raj sent it to me, but it's one of our podcasts where we take calls from callers. We answer questions, and the callers are the co-hosts. It's an incredible show. All right, everybody. Looking ahead, the U.S. Women's National Team's next game is on Wednesday in Louisville against Argentina. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I am going to the game in person. I wanted to be there to celebrate Rose's 100th cap. I'm very excited to go. So, good news, everybody. Becky and Raj are going to be going live right at the final whistle. Make sure to subscribe and tune into the Women's Game YouTube channel on Wednesday for that live reaction show. Thank you all so much for your questions today, for your comments. Thank you for tuning in with us. Pino and Becky, thank you so much for being here. Pino, I want you to remind us all what your podcast, A Touch More, is all about, and then tell us how we can tune into your next episode.
Well, we need to do this again. This was so much fun. We need to have more of these and live and in person. The podcast is called A Touch More. Sue and I talk about all things sports, basically everything that intersects in women's sports, which is everything: entertainment, politics, culture, yada, 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 all the things. And we just really get on and shoot the shizza, yak about. We're having so much fun, though.
And we can find it wherever we get our podcast and on YouTube.
Wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Yep.
Incredible. Well, all of our podcasts at the Women's Game are also available here on YouTube and on our podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow along with us across all of our social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Threads at Women's Game MIB. You can also send me an email at womensgamemib@menandblazers.com. I would love to hear from you. Huge thanks again to Becky. Becky, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I love you guys so much.
This was really fun. Pino, I'm very grateful that you came on this.
I'm thrilled to be on here. I love talking soccer with you guys.
I loved this so much. So huge thanks to you guys. Thanks to the entire team at the Women's Game at Men in Blazers. I'm Sam Ewis. This is the Women's Game. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.